Hello. I'm trying to get everybody in here. Okay. So, yeah. Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing? Welcome to my first podcast video and with Chosen with Purpose. Here, Reina Castellano as your host. And I have here with my sister, Kimberly Castellano. It's crazy, right? I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to start like something different. And I'm like, one of the things that, I'm just learning to like what the Father has been calling me. And I was like, I had to, take it in what He tells me. And so, Kim, how are you? How are you? How you been?
Been good.
And this is like a first video. So I'm like a little rusty. And
we all start from somewhere.
Yeah. So I want to discuss a story that I have been reading and just like getting into the word, and it's discussing the story about Leah, like in the Bible. Like I don't know if you guys noticed a story about Leah, who was the person she was like overlooked. She was somebody represented someone who's rejection. And today's topic as well is about two sisters, which was Leah and it was Leah and it was Rachel. It was two sisters. So, and how both of them struggled with comparison, with jealousy and envy. And I want to bring about Leah. And to her side of her story was that she represents someone who's like unloved and rejection, comparison, and who seeks the validation from people. And it's pretty much an interesting story. And basically, because we have Valentine's Day coming up on this Saturday, and we're like, okay, so I'm thinking to bring something up for like Valentine's Day, and something that we can relate to with this video. That's basically more about like identity, and I want to bring the story about Leah. Leah, who like lived most of her life unseen and overshadowed by her sister. Sorry. And it was Rachel who was introduced not who she was, but what she lacked. And Leah had weak eyes in a world that like valued beauty and affection. And Leah had like learned early what it felt like to be second. And she was married to Jacob, but not chosen by his heart. And each day she lived beside love that wasn't like directed toward her. And yet in her quiet pain, Leah did something powerful. And she turned her longing into prayer. With every child she bore, Leah named her sons and cried to the Father, now my husband will love me. Now I will be joined to him. Hope after hope that's like barely like unmet. But then like something shifted. When Leah gave birth again, she didn't name her son after her pain and desire to be seen by man. She named the last child, I don't know, correct me, was Judah, the last child. And she said this time, because his name means praise. So this time it was like her last child, and she was telling the Father, to God, that this time I would praise the Father. And not because like her circumstances changed, but because she did. And Leah stopped striving to be chosen and realized that she was already being seen by God. And from her line came from Judah. And from Judah, came from Jesus. And the woman overlooked by people became central to God's redemption story. And Leah's story reminds us that being unseen by others does not disqualify you. It positions you. And because God often builds his great legacy through the ones the world ignores. Well, and I think that's one of the powerful like story I could say about Leah, like how she was overlooked by man and like how she was craving for like, to be seen. Like one of her I guess, story is like how her identity was being attached by man's approval, by man's attention and like affection. But and it's one of the things that we can all relate to that about Leia.
Mm-hmm.
And I have like some questions here, like one from my sister here. And so Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm one of Raina's older sisters. I just want to say this is pretty cool. Before you started your questions, I think it's pretty cool that you're doing this. I think you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And I know that many people, they're going to see this and they can identify themselves, especially, youth or women who, or even men, that you feel probably lost. You feel like your identity, you don't know who you are. And it's all a process because Leia, she, at first, like Raina was saying, if you go in the Bible and the scriptures, Leia was one of Jacob's wife, and she wasn't pretty. Okay, she was not pretty. That's what they say. But I like what you said, Raina, that in the beginning that she was in love. She was trying to get approval, and all this time, that has happened to us. I find myself in those situations where men is like, oh, I found myself, in my youth.
Yeah.
As well, trying to get guys' approval, trying to be like, oh, I love him, he's so handsome. But then it's like, what was I doing? I was trying to get some guy's approval, okay? How many of y'all has happened to that? That when you're young and you're like, oh, I like that guy, he's so cute. But then we don't think about things, wisdom and guidance have not been taught to us. So, I love the fact that she changed her strategy with her fourth son. She had kids after that, but that fourth one is what changed everything. Instead of looking at a situation or looking for man's approval, she turned to God, to the one that only could fill her.
That's crazy.
He's the only one. Listen, God, the Father, Jesus, he's the only one that can fill you, okay? There's no husband. Even though you have a husband, I'm not saying that you let them go, but there's no husband, there is no kid, there's no money enough in the world that can fill that spot, that void that you feel inside. That spot only and will only belong to Jesus. It will only belong to the Father. That's it. Nothing else can satisfy you. Go ahead. Let's start any questions.
Yep. Whatever she said is 100%. Like, there you go. But I can relate to that too. También, like, I was there. And yet still learning to like not get myself too attached.
Yeah.
That will become my identity and like
I remember I remember you had situations like that and you would lower yourself, but then it's like you will find yourself, that you didn't have to get low like that.
Yeah.
So I think you come a long way, especially, pick and choosing guys, you don't just date any guy. You don't even date because you know the value, you know courtship, you're learning all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get to these questions here.
Let's say some shout outs. Let's see who's there.
Oh, whoever's there,
Mari, Alejandra, and all the viewers that's gonna be seeing us. Hello.
So, what part of yourself, like, are you still learning to love, Kim?
Ooh. What part of me am I still learning to love? Myself. It's just me. Seeing myself how the Father sees me. Accepting my flaws. That's a big one.
Wow, that's great.
Because many of us, we try to be perfect. We try to do things right. By thinking that we're doing right, we try to be perfect. But then when our nature, we're so flawless, we're so, we have flaws. We have, all these things, and we think, oh, we won't fail, but then when we do, it's like, dang, we messed up. I remember not loving myself because of that. I said, who's gonna love me when I keep failing? I remember telling the Father, don't look at me, stop doing, don't, it's kind of pushing him away, but he's like, the more I did it, the more he loved on me. And I found that there's nothing that I can do to take away his love from me.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, I would say like you came a long way as well too. Like from broken, like from divorce, but also how you find yourself keep finding who you really are, and like you're part of who you are, your identity, like you know who you choose to grow, like to be that better version of yourself.
Yeah,
I say like
because
that's just something like
it's a process. It's a process, and people
Yeah.
think it's a day, one day after another. My struggle is probably this area, but then your struggle is another one. You cannot compare. Don't ever compare. And that's what happened with Leah. She compared herself with her sister Leah. Leah and Rachel. It's Rachel. Leah. Es que Leah is
I
Spanish.
think Leah. I think
No,
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't know how to pronounce, but Leah compared herself with her sister. So don't ever compare your process. Don't ever compare what you struggle with others, because everyone struggle with something.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it may look easier to others, that what you're going through, they faced it. Okay, I'll give it, hey, good for you, but you know what? This is my struggle. I'm not going to embrace it. I'm not going to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for me to get up from there and keep on trying every day.
Mm-hmm. So, and point number 2, how's your identity has changed over the years?
Oh my God. I think I've gone through so many phases.
I imagine. I remember.
I remember
your teen years and your 20s, and it's like that's the face of it. Like when going through that identity, like people think you have it all figured out when you're like 20. By the time you're 22, 21, having kids, having a career, and all that, and it's like sometimes it's not enough for that, But yeah, go ahead.
My identity, I remember, was so messed up. I mean, it's a work in progress. I say I've come a long way, but I remember, I would compare myself, jealousy, envy, all these things, but it was because I didn't know who I was. I was so insecure because I really didn't like myself. I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't see that in my home growing up. I didn't see that example. But I remember when in high school, I was not gothic, punk rock.
Kim had this kind of a little bit like a unusual style.
I
It's like
know.
a punk mix. It's kind of like a
punk rock
something.
type of, I don't know.
I was commentary, kind of like
exactly.
Punk rock.
I was trying to find myself
That's
still. I had no guide. I had no one that I could follow. I would just see things and stuff, and I would copy that, or I was trying to fill that void I was feeling. Like I said, only the Father can fill it, and I couldn't find myself. Until this day, I'm still working. Yes, I found some areas of me, and it was a part that I never knew it was me. So, yeah, it was very a lot of stages it went through. Broken, then up again, then down again. I saw many versions of myself that I didn't think, and I got to discover new ones about myself.
It's crazy how you get to discover something like, oh, it just came. What is this? No, but I think it happens to me like with me. Like I would like go through certain things. Like I'll get depressed, like depression. I'll fall into depression, and then like just trying to find myself again. Like trying to find that purpose of myself and like motivate. But yeah, it's just the like face of it. Like you just gotta keep on, searching yourself. But yeah, be like content, like where you are, like the boss working with you in that area too.
Yeah.
Okay, so how's your identity changed over the years? Oh, sorry.
That was number 2.
Yes. Sorry. In what ways has singleness strengthened you?
Now we're into singleness. All right. So
the single.
I came to learn a lot. You say, how did singleness strengthen me?
Mm-hmm.
It strengthened me in my value. What is good and what's not good. I learned to set boundaries, and most of all, to love me. love myself enough to not get into toxic cycles. Love myself not to get into those relationships that, hello, there's red flags. Singleness has taught me a lot. But most of all is to love myself. That maybe there is somebody, maybe there's not. I come to that realization, what if there's nobody? But what if there is somebody? My focus is not that. My focus is in the Father. Because He holds the key of my future. So my singleness, I'm learning to enjoy it now.
Yeah.
Enjoy this. It's a moment with just the Father separated for me and Him. It's just for me to draw closer with Him with no limits. Listen, I'm not saying that marriage is bad, but I've been there, done that, being married. But when you're single in Christ, listen, take advantage, okay? Those single people, take advantage, because I'm not saying that when you have a family, you limit yourself.
Yeah.
But singleness taught me that there's no limit. There's no limit in the Father. There's nothing holding you back, because your whole focus is in the Father. That's it. You don't have time to go for distractions. No, that's it. It's just Him and you. Nobody else. And not that you can't make room. There's a time and a season for everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying it. I think it strengthened my faith. It strengthened who I am, my identity more. It affirmed it. And especially my relationship with the Father.
Yeah, that's like so important from being like
number one relationship with the Father.
I think someone said that singleness is not a disease. It's it's finding like more learning about yourself, more learning about like things that have like you haven't been healed from that, but mostly also like to enjoy like life too, and not try to settle for anything less. If it does not bring anything that adds value to you, then do not ever open that door, ever. Yeah, it's like to enjoy life. That's the point of it. And let me see. And what has singleness taught you about yourself?
Oh my God. Listen, I didn't think singleness taught me things, but it really did. I'm not I am wise in some things, but I learned that I need more wisdom. It taught me that I can learn new things, to not stay in my own understanding. It taught me about myself, areas that I thought was healed, and they were not. They were just covered up. And now I get to have the time to really heal and really love myself. Truly know who I am. So.
And let me see. All right, I have another question here too, and I forgot. What has rejection taught you about your worth?
Oh, rejection. Ooh, dang. Every time it comes to, knock on my door, will you say that rejection comes and teach me?
That about your worth, like
my worth. Well, that it taught me that there's going to be people that's going to reject you, and that's okay. It's not their fault. It's not your fault. But the Father hides us because we're valuable. I learned that people reject us. Like I said, it's not their problem. It's not my problem. But because I'm a hidden gem. And the ones that truly see is able to enjoy the treasure. They're able to enjoy my company. They're able to enjoy whoever really digs into that. And that the rejected people are the people that Jesus loved. He always chose those that nobody wanted. He always went after the ones that nobody actually paid attention to. And I love that. Because I mean, I don't like being rejected. Hello. But I heard this before and it's so true. Rejection is just redirection to not that, but this, you know? And what better person than Jesus that even though nobody else wanted you, he did. He chose you, you know? He made me feel wanted. So rejection, you know, it's not part of me. It's always around, obviously, but you give access to that. You choose to let those things or not. Whether you see it as something that's gonna hurt you, be sad, or you're like, no, you know what? Whether they invite me or not, whether they do, I'm gonna redirect my eyes into the one who did chose me, the one that was been there and always gonna be there for me, Jesus Christ the Messiah.
That's crazy. Well, before I want to pull out the one last card, and it has to do with the Father has special letter for you, and I could say like today's, you know, it's been good, like talking to you about it, and we can be open more, and especially I'm looking for more to make more videos, and so I have this one last letter here, and what the Father wants to tell you is that you are loved, you are accepted, you are enough, you are whole, and lack nothing. You are seen and secure. And that's all I want to like bring to you guys about this topic today. And looking forward to write more stuff and then do more live videos. And anything you want to add on?
No, I like that you put nothing else. Just remember who you are. And if you don't, it's a process. It's okay. Your identity is in Christ Jesus.
Yeah.
Your identity is who God says you are. And never settle for less than your worth. You're worth so much more. And if you're struggling in those areas, always leave a comment. If something that ministered to you that you feel like, dang, I feel like this thing right now just, you know, spoken to me, Raina will reach out to you. You know, if you need prayer, put it down in the comment below. But
yes. So if anybody has questions or anything, feel free. So, and that's today for Chosen with Purpose podcast. And I'm here. I'm going to be making more. Stay tuned.
Woo!